everybody. Welcome to the NAWBO Member Spotlight. We are so excited today to have Mary McCarthy with us. Yay!
Hello, everyone.
We are just so excited for you to tell us about your business, tell us about your podcast.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's really great to be here with both of you and then all of you who are watching right now. My name is Mary McCarthy, and I have owned my small business for 20 years. I have been a wellness director and worked in corporate wellness for the first 15 years of my career. Farm Bureau, I was introduced to the importance of yoga and teaching yoga, and there wasn't a lot of teachers in Des Moines. And so a woman came up to me and said, you know, I know you're an athletic trainer and you know how not to hurt someone. So here's a book. Could you teach us yoga? And so that really started in 1999 when I opened up this Hatha Yoga Iyengar book, and I started to really see the poses and what to do. And my career continued to move into corporate wellness. I worked actually at Wellmark and Principal. I went off to get my master's in public health before I cycled back to Des Moines, and then I really helped launch the wellness initiative at Wesley Life. And I was there for 10 years, opening up 7 wellness facilities and really helping people of all ages feel well and move their body. And when I started learning about yoga, it really fit right in because it was this mental, emotional, and spiritual practice. And the word yoga really means to unite. And it did help having an exercise science background when I was learning the asanas or the postures, because it made sense to me when I was, reading the books and then taking trainings all over the Midwest of like turn your foot out 90 degrees and lift your arms up this high. And, all of those little cues that are given in a class. And so Plymouth Church opened their doors to me because I studied with a woman who had really began a yoga practice here in Des Moines. And her name was Marcy Graham, but then she moved to California and she wanted someone to take over her class. And so that was me. And I began teaching yoga regularly every Monday night at Plymouth Church. In fact, this October, I just celebrated 20 years teaching there. And it was a huge accomplishment, knowing that as I have gone away to grad school and I've had 3 children, that class has been sustainable throughout all of those years. And so that's really how my business started. I just was Yoga by Mary on the side, and I would get involved in community events. I've been teaching for all the Parks and Rec programs, yoga in the park, yoga on the lawn, donating my time and being a community leader in the yoga industry. My children are 11, 9, and 6. And when I had Annie, my youngest child, I was really burning the candle at both ends. Wesley Acres had a daycare on site, and that was a really beautiful partnership between an intergenerational program. And so I was also in charge of that. And I wanted to be more present for my children. And I wanted to be more present in my practice because I was not able to do anything that I was teaching. Like many people in health and wellness industry, we're always teaching to others, we're inspiring others, and sometimes it's very hard to do it ourselves. And I knew that that was not a path towards success or the ability to thrive. And if I wanted to be a good role model for my kids, I thought about how can I do this for myself? So I had a lot of support from the community and my students. And then that's when I launched Resilience and Grace. And was my really jumping point 6 years ago to take a deep breath and adventure on my own with the skill set of, managing budgets and teaching interns and managing all of these facilities, I knew I had the grit and the ability to persevere, and then also the softer side to pause. So in 2018, I renamed Yoga by Mary into Resilience and Grace, because the yoga piece wasn't everything that I wanted to do. It was a piece of me, but it wasn't all of me. And that was why this journey to transition my name was so important. And students really helped me think about, Mary, you offer resiliency. You are teaching people resilient strategies. And sometimes it's in the form of yoga, but sometimes it's in your speeches, because I'm a public speaker, in my workshops, in my retreats, and in the meditations that I lead. So that's been really fun to shift and look at all the different ways that I can help people be resilient, and then also offer themselves some grace. And this has been a really interesting year in 2020, because these two words I have heard so many times. And I never thought that the work that I did prior to 2020 would come forward and be such critical words and feelings that we need to embody as individuals, as women business owners, and that we continue to pivot and find ways to be resilient. And I think that's now where I'm stepping into my growth, is to look at all of the ways we can be resilient in partnerships with other small business owners, like in NAWBO, in friendships, and then also with ourselves. And I think that the ability to offer ourselves some grace is this journey that many people don't want to go down, which is just being silent and, reflecting and making time to turn inward and really feel and process and think. And so that's where I am now. As a small business owner, I was a very in-person instructor, right? Like that's how a lot of our yoga and meditation classes have been taught traditionally. But it's been a gift, because there have been platforms like Glow and Yoga International, Gaiam, some really wonderful national platforms that have started to take these practices online and helping people practice wherever, all ages, all physical abilities, wherever people are at on the journey. I want to use the words that I give, and it's an invitation. Take your foot out this way and feel into it and move from the inside out. And I think we live in a world that's really frenetic, all this frenetic energy, and we have all these pressures already to do, and be, and go, that these practices are to help balance that frenetic energy so we do not blow up and burn out and want to give up and quit. That our breath is this wonderful image of how important it is that we have to breathe in before we can breathe out.
I a lot of times I realize I'm holding my breath
Yes.
throughout the day.
I was just going
so
to say
I'll be
that.
working, and all of a sudden I'll go,
Yeah.
wait, I haven't been breathing.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, Mary and Wendy, even more importantly, it is such a great time to remember that too, because for myself, I'm wearing masks 10 to 12 hours a day sometimes, and talking in between guests. And the same as you, Wendy, I will find myself holding my breath, and then I get a headache or I get dizzy. So I can definitely see remembering to breathe.
But there are some techniques that can even be more efficient and effective to helping us calm the mind. And these are called pranayama practices in yoga. Really, it's just the Sanskrit word for breath. And one of the ways that you can access different pranayama practices is on my podcast. So I have a podcast, Resilience and Grace, and I have 41 episodes on it. I'm moving from offering a new episode every Monday to going into seasons. And so I'm pausing right now so I can really collect and think about how do I move forward intentionally. But on there are so many meditations and pranayama practices that can be done in 3, 5, 7, 15, 20-minute increments, you know, that really allow us to pause and practice. And once you learn them, you don't need my voice anymore to guide you, because you've started to embody those practices and find the ones that really matter to you and that are effective.
Even your voice is just calming. I think I've shared that with you before. Like, even just listening to you, my body just relaxed, and I'm like, oh, bring me a pillow and a blanket. It just, just tell me a story.
Well, you know, I'm glad you said that, Trisha, because one of the meditations that can help people, I love to talk about yoga nidra, because when so many of us are having a hard time sleeping or really shutting our brains down, yoga nidra is a guided meditation, and it's a 20 to 30 minute meditation that a lot of people do before they go to bed, but also for people who can't sleep. If they wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep, or they're so exhausted and they still have 5 to 7 hours of work left, if you take just 20 minutes, this helps your brain feel like you've taken a 2-hour nap. And it's such a profound, evidence-based practice that gets into those deep delta waves of our brain. And we are talked through this guided relaxation so that you stay awake and aware, but your mind and your body actually feels like it's going to sleep. And so when the voice brings you out of it and you slowly open your eyes, moving back into your day, you truly feel refreshed. And it's like, it's so amazing. I'm always surprised. I shouldn't be, but I'm surprised. I'm like, wow, that really worked.
Now, is that do you have that in your podcast?
I do. I have about 3 different variations, and I'll add more, but my favorite app, and it does cost $10 a month, but one of my teachers is Rod Stryker, and he's been teaching yoga for 40 years, and he has an app called Sanctuary, and it has meditations and many, he calls them enlightened sleep practices, but truly they're yoga nidras. And Sanctuary is really easy to find, and there are some that are free before you would pay a monthly membership. But Insight Timer is all free. And you could search for, sleep meditations. And if you just really have to look for this 20 to 30 minute sweet spot. I personally like meditations that have no music. And the reason for that is that it is one more distraction, and our brains are already distracted all the time. And we are hypersensitive to picking up so many different things that when we have silence, even though it's uncomfortable in the beginning, it offers our brain to download, and it offers a chance to really dump out everything that's just spinning and cycling inside our brains. And so the silence offers like these really calming rests. I've been a NAWBO member. This is my 3rd year. And one of my most favorite things is last year I was actually able to go to NAWBO conference, the national conference. And I went with KT and Kendra, and I was the guest, and we just had this fabulous time. And I have found that NAWBO has provided this amazing support group, and that we've been able to share different business strategies and services. And so I've started to work with many of the NAWBO sisters and their businesses, and I can now refer to others. And it's just like, it's been one of the best things that I've joined, and I'm so grateful for it. Is how can I give back? Of all the ways that NAWBO has given to me, yes, I'm a professional speaker and get paid to do these things, but I also wanted to offer these presentations that I put a lot of time and effort into, and to give it to the NAWBO members for free. And so coming up at the next week, or the 17th, which is next week, we'll be doing a presentation, and I'll offer another one in January. And it's just such a wonderful time to really think about our own personal resilience.
Thank you. That is so wonderful. So great that you're doing that for us.
I know, I'm looking forward to it, that's for sure.
And it fits in so great with our theme this year.
And one of the things that I thought I'd say just as we're wrapping up is that if you would like to kind of stay in touch with me and see all the different things that I'm offering virtually and outside, and I also write a newsletter. So I put a lot of time and thought into a blog and an article that's very educational around meditation and yoga and energy. But if you just go to my website, which is mary-mccarthy.com, and you will access all of the different things that I do. And it'll link you right to my podcast, my YouTube channel, which has free classes available. And also you can sign up for that monthly newsletter. And I love to support other businesses. So for those of you listening, if you would like to be spotlighted in my newsletter, I'd like to share that out to larger masses of people. Please contact me.
Thank you, Mary, for all the wonderful things that you're doing in our community.
You're welcome.
We are beyond blessed to have you in the NAWBO sisterhood, that's for sure.
Absolutely.